Hey everybody, it's Matt Michaels and Sin City Steve here for the Vegas Bad Boys of Podcasting. Today happens to be the birthday of our very own DJ Impact, so he is celebrating it with his family. We, of course, wanted to do something special for him, so we went out. We found the most, newest pair, the newest line of fuzzy white slippers. We got this really high end, about $60 a pair. We got them actually two pairs, but we wanted to make it special, so we actually wrapped up Simon Street in a box. And we believe, I don't know if DJ went out with his family, but we believe no one is home yet. And we have him wrapped up waiting outside DJ's front door. We just hope that he makes it through this. We kind of forgot to uh, put breathing holes, air holes in the
Ooh.
box. So uh, that we didn't think ahead there, but it's the thought that counts. So, and with that, we're going to get right into this week's four-way stop on what's going on in the world of professional wrestling. All right, Steve, what did you see this week that caught your eye?
All right. So, Darby Allin is still your AEW TNT champion after successfully defending against Kushida, of all people, in an open challenge match on Dynamite. It was a very good match. Quite frankly, it was one that I didn't know that I wanted to see until it was announced. And quite frankly, these guys delivered. It was a hot show all night. Crowd was into everything, and this match was no exception. Solid back and forth match. Darby Allin picks up the win and retains, as I had mentioned. Also, Orange Cassidy is still your AEW All Atlantic champion after defending against Jay Lethal, DJ Impact's boy, of course. These guys leaned into the funny, and while some of the antics in the match were meme worthy, most notably Jeff Jarrett and Satnam Singh having to walk down the entire flight of stairs from the upper deck, that had to be a rib. Yeah. Anyway, they booted people out of their seats. Took their seats, and then lo and behold, Chuck Taylor, Trent, they just so happened to have seats right next to them. So, they leaned into the funny with that stuff. At one point, Jeff Jarrett swung his guitar, Danhausen stole it, and thus provided some memery because you got everywhere acting like as if he's the lead vocalist in Ghost, playing a guitar. I mean, it was great. Solid match. Orange Cassidy retains. And then elsewhere, Saraya and Tony Storm turned heel on Dynamite on Willow Nightingale after Storm beat Nightingale. They were kind of teasing it beforehand, and yeah, they proceeded to beat Willow down post-match and went full on heel. We'll see where it goes from there.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, I'll get to it later. Uh, I myself found it very amusing about Dominic talking about being in the pen and how the Usos would not be able to last in the pen. That was just, I mean, it's just gold with that whole thing that Dominic is this Vado who is
The
serving
hardened criminal.
Oh, it's so ridiculous. It works. Saul Ruka versus Alba Fire. Saul Ruka is, man, she is going to be something else. Look out for her. That she made a great match with Alba Fire, who obviously is a very good veteran.
Oh yeah.
So great showing for a rookie performer. Grayson Waller's sit down interview. They did one with Braun too, which okay, it's Braun, whatever. But Grayson Waller just killed this sit down interview. Really good build up. This is going to be the only thing I could say about AEW that was good in the whole week, and that was Rampage. And Jungle Boy's music hit. And Jericho on commentary says, you know what? I don't like, Jim Ross, is when people come out and people sing along to people's theme songs. I hate it. That was it.
Yep.
That was it. That was the best thing on fucking AEW, probably within the last, I don't know, 3 years for me. Just brilliant. That was fucking hysterical. And Ross didn't play off of it stupidly,
Of course.
which made it work. So, do stuff like that. That's entertaining. All right. What's too sweet? Steve, what do you find a little too sweet this week?
All right, so Top Flight got the biggest win of their wrestling careers this week, pinning the Young Bucks clean in the middle of the ring on Dynamite. Very, very solid match. And one thing that I liked is that the announcers did build in that the Bucks were 2/3 of the trio's tag champions, thus implying that they weren't at full strength. I think that this is something that works completely in the benefit of everybody. You can use the Young Bucks to put over younger teams like what they did in this situation, because now what's probably going to happen is, keep in mind, Top Flight had a trio with AR Fox. They won what seemingly was a meaningless top rope or over the top rope battle royal.
Right.
So now you're working evidently toward an Elite versus AR Fox and Top Flight trios match, but you also allowed Top Flight to get the win over the Bucks, so it establishes some credibility for those guys, gets them over. So really well done on that execution. Also, Bryan Danielson and Bandito. That was the best match that I saw on TV all week. I'm leaving it at that. Those guys went out there, they put everything out on the table, and there was a little something for everybody. There was technical mat wrestling. There were plenty of lucha spots, shows of strength with Bandito with the delayed vertical suplex. There was an awesome chop and strike exchange as well. Dude, the match was great. Danielson won in 17 minutes. More of this, please. And also another last second too sweet. Rampage. We got Brian Cage versus Willie Mack on AEW TV. And it was pretty fucking good. Imagine that.
I'll talk about stuff in a second.
I know.
On the flip side, I got to say, man, Sami Zayn, Roman Reigns sitting in a locker room together, and Roman just, I mean, you can't play it any better to have Roman so just kind of focused and not looking at anyone and saying the thoughts in his head, and Sami right over his shoulder, looking like he is scared shitless, like he's done something wrong, like he is going to cry. It was so fucking perfectly done. Wrestling doesn't get enough credit for its drama, the stuff they build, and that was done so well. Get out of here. Then you have Heyman talk to Roman, and then Roman calls him back in, and again talks about his temper, and he just wants to be loved and respected, and he wants loyalty. That whole time he's saying that, Heyman is literally wiping his eyes in the background. It was amazing. And then you get a KO attack, later on Roman during the contract signing that, comes out of nowhere. And then, of course, Sami gets down there late. So what's going to happen? Actually, they're just building this thing so slowly and beautifully. It's amazing. But the other big thing was, holy shit, the crowd pop for the Firefly Funhouse was unbelievable. And, it's going to be interesting to see. I don't know if they're going to do exactly this idea that fans have been coming up with the characters from the Firefly Funhouse. I got a feeling we see in this Lights Out match the start of Eli Drake becoming the first new member of what is now the Wyatt family. I think they're going to tie every fucking thing that's ever been done with Bray Wyatt into one giant big fucking thing. So it's very intriguing because that whole segment was just unbelievably done. So we'll see where we stand in the future with that. And right now, let's see what we got in What the Fuck. All right, so Steve, I'll start with my What the Fuck. And I'll start with the WWE and the SmackDown tournament for the number one contenders for the tag team titles. Sheamus and Drew, what the fuck do you have those guys together for and doing this? Your first round match should not be the Viking Raiders, the team you're trying to fucking build up and make them look like there's something else when they haven't changed the gimmick at all in 4 or 5 years, and just reintroducing the same fucking thing. And then you have them lose to Sheamus and Drew. And you have a bracket that is set up where those two are going to take out, the top dollar and those guys pretty easily, right?
Hit row.
And then on the other side, you have Imperium going against the Bruisers, which was a great match. And now they're going to be going against Legado del Fasmo, which is going to be a great match. And then ultimately, they're going to lose to Sheamus and Drew.
Yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen.
Reason. It just that gets me. Daniel Garcia has no charisma. What the fuck, dude? He needs to learn how to fucking do something. He can wrestle, but he has nothing in terms of the charisma. Sammy Guevara makes him look like he does not belong, on that next level. I think the Bucks need to be suspended again. Get them off TV. It's just fucking old. I didn't like Saraya and Storm are heels now, other than the fact that they were beating down Will and Nightingale, which I think that's
that's a babyface move for you.
Yeah, that's a face move at this point. But it's like there was just no, so there was a little tease, but there was no story to it. No reason for these two to turn heel. I gotta say it though. Curtain jerker Marty McFly debuts in a fucking title match because records count in AEW. And then he fucking loses the match. I don't care that it was a good match. But what are you doing? This is just continuous. Don't introduce the guy so your fans who never saw NXT, because you remember you were beating them so bad that your fans weren't watching NXT, apparently. They don't know who this guy is. If your fans not familiar with other wrestling, and guy comes out, match looks good, but he loses, and who is he? So same kind of problems that they've had for years in introducing people. All right, Steve, what do you got?
So one thing really quick that I just do want to mention is something that they did before this match that was at least encouraging is they did run a couple of video packages on Kushida. Now, obviously, he's not debuting as a full-time guy. They made it apparent that he is there on a one-shot basis. They had him come out with the guys from the New Japan Dojo. So hopefully that's all that is, and it's just a one shot and it's done. Next week, we're getting Darby versus Buddy Matthews, which should be a pretty damn good match also, but nonetheless. We are evidently getting family therapy involving Billy Gunn, the Acclaimed, and the Guns. I really wonder if TK plans on bringing in Dr. Shelby for this shit and just revisits those old vignettes. Or get this, think about it. Remember that Scorpio Sky was actually in those vignettes involving Daniel Bryan and Kane in WWE. I mean, they have been looking for something for Scorpio Sky to do.
Have they, though?
They say that they have been. Anyway.
Listen, Kazarian all of a sudden became an Impact wrestler out of nowhere.
There's that.
Yeah.
Also, Hangman Page promo with Renee. The same Renee that's married to John Moxley. Page cuts his promo, says some cryptic shit about mending fences, and then the entire internet's going ape shit thinking that he's talking about CM Punk. No, he's not. I thought that we were going to be getting a more aggressive Hangman Page. Then he injured Mox in storyline and reverts back to being his usual self.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah. It's stuff like that. And again, the unfortunate thing is, listen, no one can argue the ability of the wrestlers. No
Right.
one, right? But the thing is, in terms of coherency of keeping things so that you always used to say you like continuity. And what we're seeing here, and again, it wasn't just Kushida this week, but it was Willie fucking Mack and Brian Cage have a good match, but Willie Mack debuts at 0-1 off of a dark match, and you clearly put that there. So I'm going, well, why do I think that he is going to beat Brian Cage? And then to top it off, we get this weird asinine shit with MJF now paying Brian Cage to take out Danielson. It's just convoluted, especially because you have a manager with those guys who is probably one of the worst managers in the history of fucking wrestling. Honestly.
You're not a Prince Nana fan?
I No, in fact, until you said the last name, I just thought his name was Prince.
Jeez.
Because that's how, like, it's just like he's there and he doesn't really do anything. And that whole time he stood there, he wasn't part of it, except for taking the envelope and putting it in his fucking jacket.
Taking the money, man.
Yeah, where's his tag team? Where's the fucking stable? It's like, it just makes no sense. But we can bitch a little extra today because we're 2 guys down. So
hey, well, there you go.
But it may be that if things could be solved on that end of a creative sense, then you could possibly pick up steam and go after a bigger base that isn't just the people who already watch it. And
I mean, the one thing that is at least smart that they're doing with this upcoming match with Cage is they're putting a heel in there against Bryan Danielson. The previous 2 matches, it defied logic because you're putting 2 baby faces in there, Takeshita and Bandito. And of course, both of those matches were fucking fire, but you don't buy into the heel baby face dynamic. So the reaction isn't as high as what it could be if you were just playing up traditional pro wrestling archetypes. So, obviously there are several more weeks to go after this. So let's just hope that, they continue down the path of putting Danielson in there with heels so that, things have a little bit more continuity.
And I think they put themselves in a bad spot, and that is this. You do this build-up, but you just put the belt on MJF. You're trying, I would assume, to build him as your company guy, your big top heel.
Yep.
And now you're putting him against one of the top baby faces in the industry.
Bingo.
Who is well known and should have had the belt a long time ago instead of Moxley fucking taking it again. Put it on Danielson, right?
Because I agree with that. I called for that when those 2 wrestled for that. Yeah, for that title match. Throw it on Danielson, but whatever.
Yeah, because that makes sense. He's the recognizable face who got established through WWE, and people know even more than Moxley.
Yeah.
And again, because his wife was on a very successful, reality show that he then was a part of. So, now you build this up, and if he doesn't win that belt, then what? It's just like, Now you're back to square zero. Oh, we'll do the match again, and then we'll do the blow off of it. Well, if he doesn't win this title and they do 3 matches, then we've just wasted 4 to 6 months. So
Yeah.
All right, let's get to the lookout. All right, Steve, what are you looking out for?
So, a couple of things actually. Predictably, Eddie Kingston turned heel on Ortiz this past week on Rampage. Only, 3 months too late. Anyway, regardless of the timing, hopefully we get to see Eddie raising some hell on TV with a little bit more of an edge as a heel character. He's been a babyface almost since, from the beginning. He debuted initially as a heel, but the crowd instantly loved him, and they, had that really weird kind of start to his time in AEW. But since then, he's been a babyface. Now let him run full on heel. He had gotten stale in his previous role, and I really think that he can bring a lot and a different dimension to his character and to the show as a whole. Also, yeah, this program that they're running with Action Andretti, with Daniel Garcia, with Sammy Guevara, I need to know like what the end game is. You got Ricky Starks in there as well. And, I was toying with whether or not to include this in the last segment, but, I really am looking forward to any kind of wrinkles that they will introduce into this feud, because Chris Jericho is heavily involved in this feud. We haven't seen Chris Jericho be involved in any terrible angles or lackluster angles, quite frankly. If he is willing to sign his name off on the line that he's going to be involved, there's got to be something good that comes as a result of it. I need to see the payoff for this shit. Yes, we've built up Action Andretti, but we need another wrinkle, and that's what I'm looking out for.
I do disagree though. I have to say that Jericho now has had something that he's associated with that is absolutely fucking horrible. And that is Jake Hager wrestling in that purple fucking bucket hat during a match. What the fuck is going on with that?
He likes the hat.
Jesus, the hat comes off. They go to the commercial, and during picture-in-picture, he takes the time to put the hat back on. What is this, man?
Yeah.
God,
dude,
there's
the funny thing is, like, if you see photos of people in the sections in the arena, the hat is starting to catch on. Like, people are actually buying purple bucket hats and wearing them to AEW shows. It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, well, people are also putting their fingers out and fucking sticking them into each other's fucking crevices and scissoring each other. So,
ooh.
Yeah. Let's see. I am looking out for a couple things here. Stacks is finally going to be a made man. Very interesting that they finally are kind of recognizing the fact that this kid has actually done a lot this year, and now kind of trying to introduce them into a bigger role. Maybe we see them as a tag team now, possibly, or maybe, now an underling comes in that becomes Stacks, kind of his, guy to develop. Please. Only 2 weeks of promo so far, and I want to see more Stevie Turner. Wow. She is just phenomenal in the way you did a fucking recap of a show, of a battle royal. And it was actually entertaining to listen to this recap without just having a basic recap. And she's a great wrestler, so it's going to be interesting to see. Tyler Bate going to be full-time NXT. That's exciting, man. That's exciting. And then this Toxic Attraction starting the split thing is going to be interesting to see if they pull the trigger. Because what do you do with them? Do you bring them up, or do you have them go singles for a while? It's going to be interesting. Yeah, I just like the fact that those two seem to, someone's going to screw someone in this match, that's going to obviously cost, Roxanne will retain Wrestling 101. So
Yeah.
we'll see what happens. All right. We're going to get to the final segment here. What was the best in show this week? All right, Steve, what's your best in show for the week?
Best in show was AEW Dynamite. Very, very solid stuff from top to bottom. And, I mentioned that the Orange Cassidy match had a little something for everybody. This show itself had a little something for everybody. You had the comic relief, you had the promos, you had some angle building, you had a great fucking match, and you had an open challenge main event. I think that it was extremely well done from top to bottom. And I know that it's repetitive and I get it, but I legitimately thought that Dynamite was the best show on TV this week.
Yeah, and I'll counter with SmackDown. Not only did you have two huge things going on, but you also had wonderful build up with Charlotte and Sonya. There's just a lot going on there. The tag tournament, even though it's booked stupidly, you still had good matches. So that was great. But let's face it, the best in show this week is the Jacksonville Jaguars losing their game and getting eliminated from the playoffs. I am so glad that little shit is a fucking loser, as he should be. Cry, you little fucking coked up baby. Enjoy the off season, because you guys are probably, headed back to mediocrity come next season. So let's see those memes of crying Tony Khan, please. That's what I'm looking forward to. All right. Well, that's it. That's how we're going to end it. Thank you very much for tuning in, everybody. We will be back here in a second with 3 Count for this week. If you're listening on the podcast, you can catch 3 Count on Tuesday. And, just be aware that if you're in Las Vegas this coming Sunday, the 29th, FSW is presenting No Escape at the Silver Nugget at 5 p.m. Pacific time. You can also catch it on Fight TV if you're not in town. And should be some good stuff. There's going to be, I believe, 3 or 4 cage matches. And some other good matches that are set up. So go out and see that. And remember, we do have Impact Wrestling coming in February, and we're going to have the SmackDown taping at not taping, but live broadcast at the MGM Grand, I believe in March, right before WrestleMania. So a lot of stuff going on here in Vegas. And everyone, thank you for tuning in this week. And until next time, happy wrestling, everybody.